What if I told you that you don't need to transform your entire life overnight? What if I told you that getting just 1% better every single day would make you 37 times better in a year? Most people fail because they try to change everything at once. They burn out. They quit. But today, I'm going to show you how tiny improvements, compounded daily, create extraordinary results. This is the secret that changed my life, and it's about to change yours. If you're ready to stop trying to do everything and start focusing on 1% daily improvement that actually creates massive results, hit that subscribe button right now, because this principle is going to transform how you approach every goal. Let me be real with you. You've been lied to about success. They told you that you need to make massive changes, that you need to overhaul your entire life, that you need to go from 0 to 100 overnight. And you tried it. You went hard for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Then you crashed and burned. And now you're back where you started. Maybe even worse. Today, I'm showing you a different way. The way that actually works. The way that's sustainable. The way that creates permanent transformation through 1% daily improvements. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why small beats big, why slow beats fast, and why consistency beats intensity every single time. Principle 1. The math of compound improvement. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 365% better. You end up 700% better. That's the power of compound improvement. Here's why 1% improvement works. It compounds. Most people think linearly. If I improve 1% for 365 days, I'll be 365% better. No, that's addition. Compound improvement is multiplication. You're not adding 1% to your starting point. You're improving 1% from wherever you are each day. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. You become 37 times better. That's exponential growth. But here's the flip side that nobody talks about. If you get 1% worse every day, you don't end up 365% worse. You end up at almost 0. 0.9. 9 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. You decline to nearly nothing. That's why small bad habits are so dangerous. They don't seem like they matter. 1 cigarette, 1 skipped workout, 1 unhealthy meal. But those 1% declines compound into complete destruction. This is the mathematics of life that nobody teaches you. Small improvements compound into massive success. Small declines compound into total failure. And the crazy thing? You don't even notice it happening until it's too late, because each day only feels like 1%. But over months and years, that 1% becomes everything. Stop trying to change everything. Pick one area where you want to improve. Just one. Now ask, what's the 1% improvement I can make today? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. If it's fitness, do 1 more rep than yesterday. If it's learning, read 1 more page. If it's business, make 1 more call. Focus on the 1% today. Then do it again tomorrow. Trust the compound effect. It's working even when you can't see it. Principle 2. Aggregate of marginal gains. Success is not one big thing. It's 1,000 small things done well. There's a concept from British cycling called the aggregation of marginal gains. Their philosophy. If you improve every aspect of what you do by just 1%, their sakes, those small improvements add up to massive competitive advantage. They didn't just train harder. They improved everything by 1%. Better bike seats, better tire grip, better nutrition, better sleep schedules, better hand washing to avoid sickness. Individually, each change was almost meaningless. Collectively, They dominated. That's the principle you need to apply to your life. Stop looking for the one big breakthrough. Start looking for the 100 small improvements. Your morning routine, 1% better. Your diet, 8% better. Your work habits, 8% better. Your communication, 1% better. Your mindset, 1% better. Your environment, 1% better. Each improvement seems insignificant, but aggregated, they create unstoppable momentum. Most people chase the silver bullet, the one thing that will change everything. But that's not how success works. Success is built on a foundation of countless small decisions made correctly over time. The person who wins isn't the person who makes one perfect decision. It's the person who makes slightly better decisions consistently across every area of life. Identify 5 areas of your life that affect your success: health, mindset, skills, relationships, productivity. For each area, identify 1% improvement you can make this week. Not a massive overhaul, just 1%. Drink 1 more glass of water. Read 1 more page. Learn 1 new thing. Have 1 meaningful conversation. Eliminate 1 distraction. That's 5 small improvements. In a year, those aggregate into transformation. Don't seek perfection. Seek aggregate marginal gains. Principle 3. The power of keystone habits. Some 1% improvements trigger chain reactions that upgrade everything else automatically. Not all 1% improvements are created equal. Some habits, keystone habits, have a ripple effect. When you improve them by 1%, everything else gets better automatically. For example, if you improve your morning routine by waking up 1% earlier, about 15 minutes if you sleep 8 hours, that creates time for exercise. Exercise improves your energy. Better energy improves your productivity. Better productivity improves your income. 1% improvement cascades into multiple improvements. The key is identifying your keystone habits, the habits that, when improved, make everything else easier. For most people, sleep is a keystone habit. Improve your sleep by 1%, and your focus, energy, mood, and health all improve. Exercise is a keystone habit. Move your body consistently, and your discipline, confidence, and mental clarity all improve. Planning your day is a keystone habit. Get 1% better at planning, and your productivity, stress levels, and results all improve. This is the leverage point. You don't need to improve everything. You need to improve the right things. The things that create cascading improvements across your entire life. That's how you maximize the return on your 1% daily effort. That's how you create disproportionate results from minimal input. Identify your keystone habit. The one habit that, if improved, would make everything else better. For most people, it's sleep, exercise, or morning routine. Pick one. Now improve it by 1% this week. If it's sleep, go to bed 15 minutes earlier. If it's exercise, add 1 rep or 1 minute. If it's your morning routine, add 1 small productive ritual. Focus your 1% improvement on the keystone and watch everything else elevate automatically. Principle 4. The plateau of latent potential. Your efforts are never wasted. They're stored as latent potential waiting to break through. Here's why most people quit. They don't see immediate results. They work hard. They improve 1% daily. But nothing seems to change. So they think it's not working, and they quit. Nothing seems to change, but they're quitting right before the breakthrough. Why? Because improvement doesn't happen linearly. It happens in waves. You work for weeks or months with no visible results. Then suddenly, everything clicks. You break through. That's the plateau of latent potential. Think of it like ice melting. You heat ice from 25 degrees to 31 degrees. Nothing happens. You keep heating from 31 to 32 degrees. Nothing happens. Then at 32.1 degrees breakthrough, the ice melts. Did the ice suddenly decide to melt? No. All the previous heating was building latent potential. It just wasn't visible until the breakthrough moment. Your 1% improvements work the same way. You work out for months with no visible change. Then suddenly, you see definition. You study a skill for weeks, feeling incompetent. Then suddenly it clicks. You build a business for months with no traction. Then suddenly, it takes off. The work was never wasted. It was building latent potential beneath the surface. You just couldn't see it yet. Commit to your 1% improvement for 90 days minimum without judging results. Track your inputs, not your outcomes. Did you do the 1% today? Yes or no? That's all that matters. Trust that latent potential is building beneath the surface. Trust the process. Don't quit before the breakthrough. Most people quit at day 89 when day 90 would have been their breakthrough. Don't be most people. Stay consistent through the plateau. Principle. #5. Systems over goals. Goals tell you what you want. Systems tell you how to get there. Focus on the system of 1% daily improvement. Goals are important, but they're overrated. Everyone has goals. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to make $1 million. I want to build a successful business. Goals tell you the destination. Goals, but they don't tell you how to get there. And more importantly, once you hit the goal, you often regress because you haven't built the system. Systems are different. A system is the daily process, the 1% improvements repeated consistently. I work out for 30 minutes every morning. I reach out to 5 potential clients every day. I read 10 pages every night. Systems don't care about the goal. They care about the process. And when you focus on the system, the goals take care of themselves. Here's the beautiful thing about systems. They create identity-level change. When you follow a system of 1% daily improvement, you're not just achieving a goal. You're becoming a different person. The goal is temporary. The identity is permanent. You don't just lose weight. You become a healthy person. You don't just make money. You become a successful person. Systems create transformation. Goals create temporary results. Stop obsessing over your goals. Start building your system. What's the daily process that, if followed consistently, would make your goal inevitable? I want to be fit becomes, I work out 20 minutes every morning. I want to be wealthy becomes, I learn one financial principle and implement it daily. Write down your system. Make it simple. Make it 1% better than what you're doing now. Then follow the system without attachment to the goal. Trust that if you win the day every day, you'll win the year. Principle 6. The 2-minute rule. A 1% improvement takes 2 minutes or less. If it takes longer, make it smaller. People complicate 1% improvement. They think, I need to work out for an hour. I need to read an entire book. I need to completely change my diet. No. I need to completely change my diet. No. I need to read AT 1412. That's not 1%. That's trying to go from 0 to 100. And that's why you fail. A true 1% improvement is so small it's almost laughable. It takes 2 minutes or less. And that's exactly why it works. When something takes 2 minutes, you can't make excuses. You can't say you don't have time. You can't say you're too tired. You can't say you'll do it later. You can do 2 minutes right now. And that's the secret. The 2-minute version isn't the goal. It's the gateway. Once you start, momentum takes over. I'll just do 1 push-up. Becomes 5 push-ups. Becomes a full workout. I'll read 1 page. Becomes 3 pages. Becomes a chapter. The 2-minute rule eliminates resistance. It makes starting so easy that you actually do it. And starting is 80% of success. Most people never start because the full version feels overwhelming. But everyone can start with 2 minutes. And once you start, you usually continue. That's the psychology of 1% improvement. Make it so small, you can't say no. Take your 1% improvement and shrink it to 2 minutes. Workout becomes put on gym clothes. Write becomes write 1 sentence. Meditate becomes take 3 deep breaths. Make the barrier to entry so small that you literally cannot fail. Commit to the 2-minute version every single day. Once the habit is established, you can scale it up. But start with 2 minutes. Remove all excuses. Make it impossible to fail. Principle 7. Never miss twice. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice is the beginning of a new habit. Never miss twice. Here's the reality. You're going to miss days. Life happens. You get sick. You travel. Emergencies pop up. You're human. Missing 1 day doesn't destroy your progress. What destroys your progress is missing twice. Because missing once is an exception. Missing twice becomes a pattern. And patterns become habits. If you miss 2 days in a row, you're training yourself that missing is acceptable. And before you know it, you've quit completely. This is the rule that separates people who build lasting change from people who start strong and fade. Never miss twice. You miss a workout? Fine. Get right back on track the next day. You eat poorly 1 meal? Fine. Make the next meal healthy. You skip your morning routine? Fine. Do it tomorrow. But under no circumstances do you miss twice in a row. That's the non-negotiable rule. This principle removes the all or nothing mentality that kills progress. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent enough. 1 miss doesn't reset you to 0, but 2 misses starts the downward spiral. Protect against that second miss like your life depends on it, because your transformation depends on it. Make this rule non-negotiable. I will never miss my 1% improvement 2 days in a row. Write it down. Put it where you'll see it. If you miss today for any reason, tomorrow is mandatory. No excuses. No negotiations. Get back on track immediately. The habit of getting back on track is more important than never falling off track. Build the comeback muscle. Never miss twice. Ever. You now understand the power of 1% daily improvement. You know the math. You know the principles. The question is, what's your 1% improvement going to be? Drop it in the comments. My 1% improvement is action. Let's commit publicly and hold each other accountable. Small improvements. Massive results. Let's do this together. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to be twice as good as you are today to create a completely different life. You just need to be 1% better every single day for a year. That's it. That's the formula. That's the secret. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's not going to make a good before and after photo in a week. But it works. It's sustainable. It's permanent. And it's within your reach right now. Most people fail because they try to change everything overnight. They burn out. They quit. They start over. They repeat the cycle. But you're not going to be most people. Because now you understand compound improvement. You understand aggregate marginal gains. You understand keystone habits. You understand the plateau of latent potential. You understand systems over goals. You understand the 2-minute rule. You understand never missing twice. You have everything you need. The only question is, will you do it? Will you commit to 1% better today and tomorrow and the day after that? Will you trust the process even when you can't see results? Will you stay consistent through the plateau? Will you protect the system? If you do, I promise you a year from now, you won't recognize yourself. You'll look back at this moment and realize this was when everything changed. Not because you made some massive transformation overnight, but because you decided that 1% was enough. That small was powerful. That consistency was king. And you proved it by showing up every single day and getting just a little bit better. If this video changed how you think about progress, share it. Like it. Subscribe. Let's build a movement of people who understand that small, consistent improvements create massive results. Let's prove that slow and steady doesn't just win the race. It dominates it. Your 1% starts today. Let's go. Now go. Get 1% better today. And watch your life compound into something extraordinary.